So hey everybody, it's Stephen. So first I want to thank Jonathan Dumeer for having me on his show, and he's released all 3 hours and 18 minutes or something of of our conversation. Actually, our conversation wasn't that long, but if you go look at at Jonathan Dumeer's site and you'll see what he does. He interlays all sorts of different clips of things that he's harvested from all sorts of sources, and it's really quite amazing. So I want to thank him again. I had a lot of fun talking to him about the sorts of things that I've been talking about in here, but in conversation with him. So thanks, Jonathan. So I've been since yesterday. I've immediately after yesterday's, I was thinking more about John the Baptist and this idea that he and the Theotokos, that Mary are sort of epitomes of earthly wisdom, that they have to offer us not just the intelligence and the intellect to be able to commune with the love of God, but to have the wisdom of how to let go of yourself so that you can do it. And we talked a lot about that on Jonathan's broadcast there, on his live cast. So I think that's right, and I think that this exploration I've done of John the Baptist, thanks to Mick Moe again. I was more focused on Mary. It's just the way I think that I'm developing. It's like I'm new. But then, I think John is an equally good way to go, and he's more of the ascetic. We talked about this yesterday. He's the ascetic. Go to the desert and strip off the things that are unnecessary, and he does that in a pretty extreme way, right? He really he says no to the organization of the religion and says, no, we're gonna go to the desert and we're gonna do this age-old washing ritual, but instead of sacrificing animals on an altar, in a highly structured patriarchal religious activity, again, that activity I'm enamored with because Noah. When Noah did it, it was it showed us this thing that Noah had learned right from the destruction of the world, and his survival of his family was you be grateful, be extremely grateful, and learn the lesson of what's just happened, and offer whatever you can to God. So offer your choicest steak out of your steaks and put it on an altar that you've built and burn it. You can think of it burning off the excesses. The wandering into the desert is the flame of to the meat on that grill, right? Is the burning off of the excesses, and only the choicest most pure part of the steak remains for God, and God will smell the like incense rising. You will have sweetened your thought unto God, and God will, as we all would, smell the neighbor cooking the steak on the grill, and it's a happy thought. So I think we could say that. I don't think it's wrong to say that. Like I said, I'm on this sort of this more eastern path in Orthodoxy of the Eastern Syrian style, Armenian style, of an embodiment, and I have no problem with the idea that God appreciates the embodied way that you present to him. I mean, he embodied you for this mission of filling the created world with love. Why would he not celebrate that you mix the spiritual with the embodied, and this sort of beautiful this beautiful ritual. So, but from Noah to 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 John is a long road for the ways of men to creep into the ceremony of offering. You know, the simple offering of incense turns into a big show, and it's all well intentioned, but the problem with this accretion of activities and the simple celebration of God through ceremony is that I think it's beautiful, but one of the problems is you've created this big momentum going in a very particular direction, and it becomes very hard to change the momentum. So if a Messiah comes along, and you have to change not only the momentum, but you have to change the path of salvation. That this ceremony, this beautiful ceremony that's been developed from Noah, becomes problematic. You know, it will think of itself as greater than the revelation, right? And the whole point, I think, is revelation, right? The whole point of it is having a revelation. So the problem with you could accuse Orthodoxy of this, right? You could accuse Orthodoxy of being doing the same thing for 1,700 years, and what happens if there's some sort of revelation. Now, Orthodoxy is pretty confident that the revelation of all revelations has happened, and that we're living in it, right? Time has been removed from it, so they've got I think a very, very good answer, and I don't have any problems at all with it. I've not found any yet. If I find any, I will report to you. But I think that John knows about Jesus, right? They met before they were born, and John knows that this thing is about to happen, and he sees, I guess, his father is a priest, and he's born into that priestly family, and I think he sees that, and he's like, no, and then he ends up being trained in this cave with the angels, and there's a sure way to acquire a different point of view that's strong enough that you will forsake family, right? You'll forsake community. You think about it. You've since the Messiah is here, and you have communed and been educated by angels in a cave. So if anyone could ever say no to the ceremony, you would think that, if you were in that situation, you would say, well, I have all the tools I need, right? I have all the intellect, all the knowledge that I need to have, and probably have gained wisdom from that commune with the angels. It obviously did, because we think of Joseph. Of John the Baptist. I hope I've been saying John the Baptist through that. I just said Joseph, and I hope I've not been saying Joseph this whole time. But John the Baptist. So John is thought of as one of the wisest. He's up there with the Theotokos of having the highest wisdom, the highest Sophia that man can acquire without a revelatory Sophia, without a divine Sophia. And whether or not we can actually display divine Sophia, Jesus Christ displays divine Sophia and created Sophia at the same time. He is the culmination of that. So it's very, very close with Mary and John, but not quite there, I think. And so we have John the Baptist taking one little piece of the ritual, which is the cleansing, and then the idea that the Messiah has come, and you need to cleanse yourselves of all your sin, of all your wrong actions, whether voluntary or involuntary, committed in knowledge or in ignorance, of word and of deed. That's what we say in the Orthodox Church. And you have to wash yourself of those as you would wash the sacrifice. So you're washing the sacrifice, or you're washing yourselves to prepare yourself to present the sacrifice to God in the best way that you can. But now what we're going to do is we're going to wash ourselves, and the Holy Spirit will come to us. So rather than wash ourselves in sacrifice to send the best thing you can send to God, you're going to wash yourself, and you're going to receive. You're going to receive from God. So that becomes John's mission, is this converting this ceremony of cleansing to one of sacrifice and offering up to one of sacrifice and God's saying, God's mercy. Yeah, God's mercy coming down. And remember, I said that at the beginning of every Orthodox churches, I think it's Catholics too, we invoke the idea that we're going to send the incense aromas up and hope for God's mercy. So I think that's what John is doing. He's offering up a cleansed, right? A cleansed of sin here, and looking for the mercy of God to install. Maybe to install that divine wisdom. Maybe that's what baptism is. The Holy Spirit coming into you is you get a little nugget of divine wisdom that will help you to discern good and evil. Right? That's what it is. Once the evil that might have been within you before baptism has been replaced by a discernment of what evil is. So maybe that evil was there because you didn't realize it was creeping in, and hopefully you would reject evil if you saw it creeping in. But now what we're going to do is we're going to install a discernment. We're going to make you more powerfully aware of evil. So through the baptism, we replace the evil within us with the Holy Spirit of discernment, and now the evil has to attack you from outside, which it weakens it. And also you have gained a discernment about how to battle it, how to keep it from infecting you, and battle it we do for the rest of our lives, right? So that's so this is I think that other side of the earthly wisdom is that not only like Mary can you achieve the intelligence and the intellect and the ability to sacrifice, but you can also, through John the Baptist, you can also acquire mechanics, right? Mechanics of it. So if you're interested in the more Eastern side of things, the more embodied, that you need an action to prove your thought, then the activity of baptism in the Jordan and the intercession of the Holy Spirit to give you the divine wisdom of discernment, right? And so now you are in a much better position to combat evil, having evil only attacking from without, and you having a clue as to what that evil might look like. So I think it's interesting in the story where John baptizes Christ, and I said yesterday, what is with that? With the God coming into the God-man, there's getting to be quite an array of gods here, So, but in the Trinitarian thinking in this, this quantum idea of multiple states at the same time, so we can work through that, I think, without having too much of a problem with that. But what it is a demonstration of mechanics, right? It's a demonstration of we're not going to sacrifice to the gods or to God anymore. We're not going to sacrifice with this offering to send up. We are going to sacrifice to have God's offering of the Holy Spirit come down into us. And then what does Jesus do immediately after? He does an imitation of John the Baptist. He goes further into the wilderness, but John's going into the wilderness was a rejection of society and of the organization of the religion with the knowledge of the Messiah that I was just saying. But Jesus is actually going into the wilderness to prove that this indwelling of the Spirit that happens through baptism will lead to you having the strength to say no to the strongest of temptations. The devil, Satan himself, is approaching you with his best arguments. Right? So he goes in the desert not to find God. He is God. He goes in the desert to find Satan, and this new methodology of having the Spirit within you allows you to defeat Satan's best arguments. So he takes John one step further. He takes John from one step further than that, and that's what I think Christ in the desert, that 40 days. It's a preparation, but it's learning how to say no, and not just no to your family and society, and that's hard enough, but learning how to say no matter what the situation, by using the divine intuition that's been installed in you through baptism. And then the only question is, do you have the courage? Do you have the courage to say no? This will not do. Even beyond in the most convincing argument you could possibly hear, and so John the Baptist is quite is showing the way, and I think in quite this very, very powerful way. And I'm very glad that I don't know if I was really challenged about my continued extolling Mary and her way of achieving closeness to God, but John the Baptist has this very other way, has this very different way of doing it. But I think the two together, and so in our church at the back of the altar, between Christ, you have Mary on the right hand of Christ in heaven, and you have John the Baptist on his left hand, and so it's very nice to come to a place through this thinking through these, to where the giant iconography behind the altar in our church, it's like, oh well, yeah, there they are, right? Mary and John, the two holding the highest level of earthly wisdom, and then with this divine wisdom installed within, not displayed externally, but displayed only internally. Anyway, that's a lot of words kind of mulled around there a little bit, but I think I got a good point across. Thanks.